being refreshed, having a new look, and that's what this surah does. So let's go at least take a few of these refreshers that Allah is giving us in this surah. He begins, يُسَبِّحُ لِلَّهِ. Very beautiful. This surah belongs to a group of surahs in the Quran, all of which have the same beginning, the same theme in the beginning. Allah compares the rest of the universe, the rest of everything He created on the one hand and human beings on the other. Everything is on one hand and the human beings are on the other. There's a comparison between these two. Of course, both of them, the creator is Allah. But He starts with everything else. The rest of everything I created. He says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, يُسَبِّحُ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Everything in the skies and the earth continues to declare God's perfection. Continues to declare the perfection of Allah. Everything in the skies and the earth continually, by means of its very existence, is a praise of Allah Himself. And everything is fulfilling that purpose without taking a break. Now before we even go further, who's going to be mentioned next? Human beings, right? Are human beings fulfilling their purpose the same way? That they're continuously, by their very existence, continually praising God's existence? Declaring His glory? Praising Allah Azza wa Jalla? Are they doing that? There's already a comparison. And you're supposed to be the greatest of all creation, according to Allah Himself. You know, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. In the best possible way. So He says, يُسَبِّحُ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Now look at the attributes of Allah. لَهُ الْمُلْكِ. He alone owns all kingdom. Let's stop right there and understand something. After He mentions everything is constantly praising Him and declaring His perfection, then He lets us know the only true king is He. The only true governance is His. The only true sovereignty is His. You know, when we think of government, king, authority, whenever you think of these things, the very next thing that comes in the mind of a listener is criticism. We criticize governments. People criticize their kings. People criticize the authority. If there's one party to blame for all of your problems, it must be the party that won the election the last time. That's how it works. The party to blame is the party that's in power. Allah Azza wa Jal declares Himself the owner of all power. But what is in human experience, whenever we think of power and authority, the very next thing is, oh, they're not doing their job right. The authority is not doing what it's supposed to do. What does He say right after that? He says, لَهُ الْمُلْكِ وَلَهُ الْحَمْدِ. He alone deserves all praise and all gratitude. This is the one authority. The only thing you can say about Him is praise and gratitude. You're not going to find this in any other authority. Whenever you find an authority, you'll find something to criticize about. A lot of you have minimal authority. For example, you have a boss. Your boss has an authority over you. Some of you have to run out of here. Almost when you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, there's going to be a dash. You'll notice some people, before they even finish their salam, they're going to be in the sprint to the door. You know, last one in, first one out. And you know, even though they take a 2.5-hour break from their boss, they spend 30 of that here, and the rest of it is I don't know what, but it's the religious break because it's my Friday, right? So a lot of people do that. That's fine, and they still complain about their boss, right? Oh, my boss is too tough. My teacher, he gives too much homework. You know, the government, the cops, the this, the that. It's always when you think of authority, you think of blaming. And here Allah says He owns all the authority and He alone owns all praise and all gratitude. This is who Allah is. Let me tell you, when iman, when faith gets rusty, people start complaining about Allah. People start saying, how come Allah does this? How come Allah does that? How come this is happening? How come that's happening? How come Allah doesn't change our state? They start asking questions about Allah, forgetting that Allah deserves all praise, not criticism. He already owns all praise. This is a basic lesson. But sometimes Muslims forget that lesson. So they need to be reminded too. وَلَهُ الْمُلْكِ وَلَهُ الْحَمْدِ. And then after mentioning وَلَهُ الْحَمْدِ, He says وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. He's in complete control over all things. Obviously we already know He's in complete control over all things. He said that many times in the Quran even before this. But this is a new lesson. Because now Allah is saying, look, I will do what I will. And whatever I do is worthy of praise and gratitude. And by the way, I have the power to do whatever I want. So Allah does whatever He wants, and we're still not going to criticize. We're still only going to have praise and gratitude for Him. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. Don't you think He has to submit to your standards of what you think is a good idea, of what you think is a bad idea? He is master and you are slave. Know your place. He will make His decisions, whether you get them or not, whether you understand them or not. And whatever decisions He makes are the best decisions. They still deserve praise. This is who Allah is. هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ. He's the one who created all of you. فَمِنْكُمْ كَافِرٌ وَمِنْكُمْ مُؤْمِنٌ. He created all of you. Out of you there are some who disbelieve. The word kafir in Arabic also means ungrateful. Kafir in Arabic doesn't just mean a disbeliever, it also means someone who is ungrateful. So it's the opposite of iman and kufr. Also shukran, gratitude and kufr are also opposites in the Arabic language. So it is as though Allah is saying He's the one who created you, and there are among you those that are grateful. Grateful for what? For having been created. And on top of that, having been shown the straight way. And then there are those of you that are just disbelievers. They don't believe in what was revealed. And on top of that, they're not even grateful for being created. I've met young people, even Muslims sometimes, and people of other faiths, they say, I didn't ask to be created by God. Why did He create me? I didn't want to be created. I don't owe Him any thanks. So Allah says it flat out, yeah, you'll find idiots like that too. Allah just says it. He says, فَمِنْكُمْ كَافِرٌ وَمِنْكُمْ. He created you. You'll find disbelievers, and you'll find a lot of them. And at the same time says, you'll find a lot of ungrateful people that won't even appreciate the fact that He created them. And those that will find their faith. وَمِنْكُمْ مُؤْمِنٌ. Every time I meet a person like that, I say, man, Allah spoke the truth. فَمِنْكُمْ كَافِرٌ وَمِنْكُمْ مُؤْمِنٌ. And then He adds something really beautiful. Whether you realize it or not, whether you believe in God or not, whether you're grateful or not, one thing's true, the camera is always on. The surveillance is always going on. The record is constantly being written. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. And Allah is in full view of what you're up to. You know, ru'ya and basira are two different things in Arabic. Ru'ya, you see something. You saw something. Basira in Arabic is you got a full view of something. You know what's going on in the front, in the back, every side. You got a full view. So everybody can see a building, but maybe somebody can see, oh, I know what kind of foundation they poured. I know what's inside, what kind of construction materials are being used. I know how deep this building goes, how far in it goes. That's basira, full view. Allah doesn't just see one angle of what we do. He sees it from all angles. Why did you do what you did? When did you do it? Why? Who did you do it to? What were your intentions? What was the quality of your work? The inside and the outside of everything we do. We can't present to Allah half-baked excuses. I'm reminded of that in my role as a teacher. One of my jobs is to be a teacher. And it's a lot easier now because I'm teaching adults, but when I used to teach children, it was a lot tougher. Children, kids talking in the back, I say, hey, why are you talking? No, I was just discussing the homework. I wasn't talking, I was just asking a question about the homework. I have no way of knowing. I don't have full view of what just happened. I just got, okay, fine. Or I believe him, I don't have the full picture. I don't have the full event. Allah does. So when someone has the full view, you're not able to make excuses in front of him. The word basir, the benefit of the word in the ayah is, we're now no longer left with excuses. Ungrateful or not, your entire deeds and your entire motives are on record. Wallahu bima ta'maluna basir. خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ بِالْحَقِّ. And He mentions this for those who are not clear in their faith. If you really know who Allah is so far, how He's introduced Himself, He says He created the skies and the earth with a purpose. بِالْحَقِّ. What did He say? What did He create in the previous ayah? He created all of you. When He said He created all of you, He said some of you believe, some of you don't believe. In the next ayah He said He created everything else, and everything else He created has a purpose. What do you think? He created you without a purpose? Did you forget that you have a purpose too? How can you not understand that your life is headed towards a questioning, a reckoning? You need to understand that you and I have a reason for which we are alive. There's a reason for which Allah has given us these few thousand days to live on this earth. These few years that we're going to be on this earth. There's a reason for which Allah put us here. You need to understand your purpose. Everything Allah does is with purpose. So you too. In another place in the Quran He says, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا. Did you assume we created you with no point? Just out of play, I was just bored and I created human beings? No, I made you with a real reason. And by the way, you'll find the most ungrateful people say, yeah, God's just playing games, He just made us, whatever. That's how they'll talk. They'll fulfill Allah's word to the T. This is what they will say and they'll say it. Allah even tells us what's going to come out of their mouth. Back in the Arabian desert and today sitting in a philosophy class in the university. What comes out of their mouth, Allah already knew. What will come out of it is nothing new. And you listen to it, and if you really know your book, then you will know, man, Allah does speak the truth. This guy, by spewing his poison, is fulfilling the word of Allah. Subhanallah. So, فَمِنْكُمْ كَافِرٌ وَمِنْكُمْ مُؤْمِنٌ هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ